Yes. Welcome back if you're just joining us. Remember, this is Health and Wellness. My name is Zaitun Ali, and the topic of discussion is how hormones are affecting women's mental health. Right here in studio, I'm still joined by Fatma Mohammed. She is founder of Wellness KE, and we've just established what are hormones and how do they now impact our lives as women, how do they impact our reproductive health, and we were talking about puberty.
Yeah.
And in case you have any question, remember the WhatsApp line is 0759 434389. Find us also on our socials at ktnhome_. And if you want also to find Fatma, you can find her at Wellness KE, right?
Yes.
Yes, and at Ali_Zaitun. So we'll keep the conversation going as we continue this topic. Fatma, and we've just talked about puberty. And I'd like us to now delve into the other stages.
Yes.
Of the stages that we pass through as women. And from puberty, we've talked about menstruation, everything.
Know.
And now I'd like to talk about the pregnancy.
This one is it's a sensitive one, yeah? I know.
It's the hardest.
I know.
Na sijaona menopause bado. Sasa sijui.
Kwanza menopause has perimenopause, which introduces you to menopause, and then menopause. But then again, the most important thing to remember is this. All these changes that occur, they occur because it's not just our bodies trying to harm us.
Okay.
It's also the outside environment, because the environment also does play a role. Because there's something called exogenous and endogenous hormones, meaning the effects can be that your body in itself is producing too much, or it could be the environment has maybe chemicals, maybe there's chemicals in your food, in your water, in your skincare products that are affecting you such that they are raising the levels of these hormones. Okay. So it's not just that your body is maybe malfunctioning, it can also be exogenous, meaning it is also from the outside. But when it comes to pregnancy, it's very important to understand the body, a woman's body goes through huge amount of changes when it comes to pregnancy. And this is in support of your baby. Because in order for you to become pregnant, there are certain hormones that will be produced. They will be able to ensure that you have a full-term successful pregnancy. Now, a very important hormone to mention, estrogen, and another one is progesterone. Basically, estrogen is a hormone that is going to allow you to become pregnant. And then progesterone is also known as a pregnancy hormone because it's the hormone that ensures you carry your pregnancy full term. For instance, the women who struggle with infertility, majority of the times have very low levels of progesterone. Women who struggle with early miscarriages also have very low levels of progesterone. So it's a hormone that allows you to carry a pregnancy full term. Now, the thing that happens is, when it comes to pregnancy, there will be also hormone fluctuations. For instance, estrogen can just rise and become way, way too high. And when it becomes way too high, as we've mentioned, high levels of estrogen can lead to things like anxiety, crying and outbursts of crying, and also anger, depression, and they are highly associated with high levels of estrogen. And women have high levels of estrogen all throughout their pregnancy. And when you are nearing now that process of childbirth is when now those levels now start plummeting and going much lower, which also now brings other issues, because now the hormones went from being high to support a full-term pregnancy. Then now the body has understood, oh, we're not carrying the baby anymore, so we don't need these levels to be this high. So it lowers, and when it lowers, now you start struggling with these hormone fluctuations, and they affect your mood. When it comes to progesterone, it's a vital hormone that supports our mental health, but we have to understand this hormone is actually directly linked to helping in preventing issues like depression. So for most women who are struggling with depressive issues, whenever they check their progesterone levels, usually they are imbalanced, right? So one thing we need to understand is estrogen and progesterone, they work very well together. If you can remember a seesaw and how it is, when estrogen is high, progesterone goes low. When progesterone rises, estrogen goes low.
So there needs to be a balance.
Exactly. And so whenever there is an imbalance, then you will present issues of hormonal imbalance and mood fluctuations, anger, depression, also even cognitive health, lack of proper concentration and focus, brain fog, and even memory loss.
Imagine.
It's a big one.
I can't even remember where I put my phone.
And you put it right here 2 minutes ago. and you move round and round. It's like a zero grazing, and then someone
my
comes and tells you
God.
it's here.
And we used to make fun of my mom.
Yeah?
Nimeweka wapi simu yangu?
Yeah.
Nimeisahau. Na
Yeah.
kumbe iko tu kwa bag.
Can you
Yani
imagine?
nimetafuta tia. Kumbe ndio hii hapa
And
kwa
then you
bag.
understand her now.
Imagine.
You have more compassion. Because when you're going through it, you realize, also, it's not her.
Do you know the number of times I've left my phone at home when I'm coming to work? And I never
Can
go
you
back
imagine?
for it.
Yes.
Imagine, I forget
You
it.
just get somewhere, you're like, you know what, I can only be one.
Utasawaje simu?
But it's not your fault.
Okay.
And I've even shared this with so many women on Wellness KE.
Yeah.
For me, when I had fibroids, I had the worst cognitive health.
Oh, no.
The worst. So what used to happen to me was, if I want to maybe boil water so that I can make maybe some herbal tea for myself.
Yeah.
What I used to do, I would go switch on the gas, I put the sufuria, and then I sit, and then I forget. And this happened to me not once, not twice, not thrice, not 4 times, not throughout.
Wongo.
Yes, because I had the fibroids for 10 years. So,
I'm so
I
sorry.
always say that it was God who protected me. Because at times I
Yeah.
would sit there and I would completely forget until now I smell something is burning. What is that? Then I'm like, oh my goodness, I run and then I go and switch off the gas. And here's where it gets interesting. When I shared on social media about this thing, you won't believe it. This is our highest viewed video with the most amount of comments from women all over the world, not just Kenya.
Yeah.
Everybody has said, I am in the same situation. Because they're telling me, like, there's some who are pregnant and they have cognitive health issues.
Yeah.
There's some who have fibroids and they have cognitive health issues. There's some who are going through menstruation and they have this issue.
Or even menstruation.
Yes,
Okay.
and this already tells you it is because of the estrogen levels, because this is the common denominator in all these situations.
Yeah.
It is because now it is imbalanced. When estrogen is too high, you're going to struggle with those issues. Estrogen can be too high when you're going through pregnancy. Estrogen is too high when you have fibroids. Estrogen is too high when you have cysts, when you have endometriosis, when you are menstruating. So all these, the common denominator is this particular hormone, and estrogen also can affect your brain health, how properly your brain functions. That's why sometimes you'll hear people say certain jobs are not for women. It's not because they don't want us women to do them. For instance, when a woman is maybe, let's say, menstruating, sometimes they are told not to handle heavy machinery. And me, I can tell you, Zaitun, I agree. Okay, because I have gone through it. When it comes to, my husband was teaching me how to drive, I told him I can't do it. Because at that time, I was going through my menses, and to be honest with you, I could not focus on one thing. It almost felt like my brain was on overdrive, and it was not intentional.
And talk about organizations that don't even understand when someone says, by the way, I can't come to work because it's that time of the month.
Or even handling something like heavy machinery.
Yeah.
It can be hard. It's not because someone is saying you are less than. No. It's because there are certain chemical reactions that are happening in your body at a certain time of the month, whereby they will fluctuate. And when they do fluctuate, you might not be cognitively present enough.
Something that hit me.
Yeah.
Talk about how women are very clumsy when
Yeah.
they are pregnant.
Yes.
You know, there's one time I fell on my belly, literally. Imagine,
I'm so sorry,
I was
Paul.
like, that was the second time.
Yeah.
That time, yeah. Okay, it was not that bad, but
Yeah.
I was like,
Still.
guy, when was the last time I even fell down?
It doesn't happen.
Exactly.
Because balance is also related to, it is linked to your hormone fluctuations.
How?
I know. And I was even sharing this today with my husband. I was telling him, I'm always falling. I'm always just tripping. He's always just, sometimes, because even when we met, he'd be like, Aya, what's wrong with you? Then I'm like, okay. He's looking for what has tripped me. I'm like, no, this is just me. Then he's like, what do you mean this is you? You as a grown adult? And I'm like, yeah. And sometimes he tries to understand, like, okay, what's really going on?
Yeah.
Then I tell him, like, I don't have control over it. Some things will just happen and I don't have control. And I do know for a fact that hormones actually will affect you. Because your cognitive health and your hormones, they go hand in hand. Even concentration right now, it's the way you were saying. You are reading one sentence and then you read it, and then you read it, and then you read it.
So I thought I said it's Fatma
Cindy,
Mohammed. It's Fatma who? You remind me Fatma
Yes,
who?
and it's
Now the
not
anxiety is up
intentional,
there.
but it's because the hormones are doing this to you. And
good.
also, we have to remind ourselves, when you're going through that period of pregnancy, you have to approach it with so much grace, because your body is trying its best to preserve a life. Okay, so while it's trying to do that, there will be some hormonal fluctuations and changes. These hormonal fluctuations are to allow you to carry this life full term, so that you can be able to have a healthy, safe pregnancy and a baby who is healthy. Now, once you have had your delivery, the moment that has happened, your body naturally is going to tell you, it's going to send signals that now we don't need these hormones to be at this level. Now, it starts lowering. The hormones start, they start fluctuating now. Now, because they start lowering, unfortunately, is where now we go into postpartum depression. Because for some women, it will be maybe 2 weeks after delivery, they're going to go into the baby blues. Yes, and again, it's not something that you've done to yourself. It's not because there's something wrong with you as a woman. It is chemicals, it is hormones that are now
blaming ourselves.
Yes, because you feel bad.
Yeah. And even before the postpartum depression, there's one thing that you need to tell our men out there. Cravings are real.
Yes.
They are real.
Yes, they are.
How are they
related to hormones?
Yes.
They have everything to do with hormones. In fact, when you have cravings, usually your hormones are trying to tell you. They can tell you that you are deficient in something. They can also tell you that you need to up your intake of certain minerals. For instance, they need to increase their levels of minerals like iron and calcium. And for certain cravings, maybe let's say you have a craving for something sugary, for instance. When you have a craving for something sugary, majority of the times it's low levels of magnesium. So let's say you're really, really craving chocolate. You really want to bite into that chocolate. Usually, if you do get to eat foods that are rich in magnesium, the cravings go away. So this is something I have tried myself, right? For instance, if you are going through maybe let's say menstruation, you find that you might feel very, very thirsty. You really just want to hydrate, or maybe the thought of just a watermelon and cucumbers feels really good, something fresh. And that already is an indicator. Your body is trying to tell you we are a bit dehydrated. The blood is going to be way thicker. You might struggle with a heavy period, and so eat more of these so that you can be able to now dilute, so that you can be able to have a better menstrual flow. It's the same thing with pregnancy. The cravings are just an indicator. There are some deficiencies that are there, and also blood sugar levels affect your cravings so much.
Lakini wale wa mahindi choma wana ni deficiency ya
no.
nini?
How wanataka, they are putting out a bad name for the rest of the women who want the chocolate and ice cream.
I know, but I was, okay, actually for me, chocolate until now, I don't know. So
it's
I
not
need
your
to,
thing.
I know, I love it. Until now.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime, please, mnaweza ni surprise nayo.
Wakupatie mob.
As we wind up on this stage, and I also want us to talk about the remedies. I think menopause will have to push it as another topic later on. And we were talking about libido as well.
Yes.
So it's one of the common things that pregnant women actually go through. And
they struggle with.
And they affect them mentally, even their spouses. So we can talk about this as we now check out the remedies.
Absolutely. So when it comes to libido and sex drive, this is highly linked to your hormone levels. So we have to understand as women that in order for you to have, you know, like that urge for having sex with your partner, understand that these hormones come to play so that they can allow you to have that urge. If these hormones are not in the right levels, on the right levels rather, you are not going to have that urge. You will even go as far as struggling with vaginal dryness. You can even go as far as dealing with issues like atrophy. There's something called vaginal atrophy. But these issues will affect women because of hormonal fluctuations. And the best thing that you can do is to try your best to balance your hormones during this time. It may be difficult when you are pregnant, I understand, but a diet full of foods like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, these are the foods that are actually going to be able to balance your estrogen levels and progesterone levels, because it is these two hormones that are now upsetting, such that you are struggling with your libido and you are struggling with having intimacy with your partner. So if you can be able to properly clean your diet up such that you are eating the foods that are from the family of cruciferous vegetables known as the cabbage, the broccoli, the cauliflower. Even you can add some leafy greens to that. If you maybe, let's say it's lunch, you can have a bigger portion of these vegetables, and also your dinner, you can have a bigger portion of these vegetables. You will notice a significant change because you will be balancing your hormones, but in a natural and safe way during your pregnancy. Because in pregnancy, you're not necessarily going to be doing too much of the herbal teas, because there are certain herbal teas you're not going to be able to take when you are pregnant. For instance, like turmeric tea, you're not going to necessarily be taking it, even though it is highly beneficial when you're struggling with such imbalances that are leading to low libido. But during pregnancy, you have to be very careful, because certain herbal teas, they are potent, so you are not going to try them without talking to your doctor, number one. And then number two, you are going to just make sure you make adjustments with your diet, because that's now how you are going to be able to balance these hormones naturally. Yeah.
That makes sense. Talk about now the remedies.
Yes.
Clearly, women, we have no excuses.
I know.
Mostly, I know it lies in the diet.
Yes.
So what can we make to just easy mood ziende, depression kidogo ipunguke,
Yes,
you know?
anga
Libido
kidogo.
ipande.
I know. So the first thing is to support the liver. And that is because the liver is what metabolizes all your hormones. Like it metabolizes rather your estrogen hormone, for instance. So we've already understood that when estrogen is too high, you're going to struggle with issues like mood swings, irritability, anger. And your liver is what basically flushes out toxins. It is more like a sieve. It takes out all the toxins out of the body and metabolizes hormones correctly such that you use up the right amount. And then the amount that is excessive that you don't need, it is gotten rid of. So when you support your liver, that is how you're going to end up having balanced hormones. That's why you find when people struggle with issues like fibroids, PCOS and all that, usually liver support is one of the ways they can naturally shrink them, because it's usually the hormones that are now affecting the liver. But when you support the liver, it does a good job in sieving out and funneling out. So the best way to do this, the first one is lemon water is the simplest way. When you're drinking water, you can add lemon into it. So let's say, for instance, you spend your day and you want to know how much water can you drink in a day. Majority of the times, 2.5 liters is okay. 2.5 liters to 3 liters of water in a day. So when you start your day, maybe let's say at 6 a.m., you have 500 ml. You wait for another 3 hours, have another 500 ml, 3 hours, and so forth. So you finish the day having drunk 500 ml of water after every 3 hours in order for you to complete that 2.5 liters. And you can squeeze half of a lemon in this water and drink. This is one of the best ways for you to cleanse your liver and to support it. And it's, I can say it's free, because you don't necessarily have to pay to do this. You can be able to just stay hydrated.
Okra water.
This okra water story, to be honest with you,
Okra water.
So many have talked about the trend.
I know.
But to be honest with you, the one thing that will work for you is lemon water. Okra water, for some women it has worked for them, but you don't necessarily have to go into the trend, because again, every woman's body is different and they may respond differently. And also, we may not know exactly how far this is going to help until we try. And then when you try and realize that it works, okay, then keep doing it. But then if it does not, please don't. The easiest thing you can do is lemon water, to be honest with you. And another thing that you can add is cucumbers in your water. For instance, if you can be able to make cucumber juice and add half of cucumber juice and half of water and drink that, it is one of the best ways for you to get rid of excess levels of estrogen. And one of the easiest ways, basically.
Cucumber and lemon.
Yes, and lemon. And then you put in your water. So all throughout your day, you can actually drink this. It supports your liver in a very big way, and it is cost effective, basically. And then other ways that you can be able to do that is, as you've mentioned, through diet, liver support. The liver will always function perfectly when you eat more of these cruciferous vegetables we've mentioned. The broccoli, the cauliflower, the cabbage, leafy greens, kienyeji greens, the kanzera, the managu, and the tereres, all of that, they are going to be in support of your liver health. So every time you eat, you want a whole plate of these vegetables. I know majority of the times when we eat, we do the vice versa. We eat a bigger part of the ugali, then some
Mboga
meat, and then
kidogo.
but now we have to do more of the vegetables, because the moment you make this switch, you'll even notice your hormone fluctuations. You are not going to struggle with these fluctuations, because how God created you was, He has created you in such a way that even when you enter a phase like menopause, you are supposed to naturally enter that phase and not struggle with the mood swings and all that, because you have a backup. You have a backup called your adrenal glands that are supposed to supply you with hormones. You have a backup like your fat cells. Your body has fat cells that can also make estrogen. So in situations like menopause, you are still going to be able to have backup that still supplies you. But you need to eat healthy and take care of yourself so that your backup can also come in and back you up, basically. Yeah.
Kesho mimi huyo,
Yes.
corporate girl,
I
kwenye
know.
chupa, umesema 1.5
Yes.
liters with lemon water, with
cucumber. Add
cucumber.
that, yes. Eat more greens. When it's
True.
lunchtime, try your best. Even when you find that it's going to be a struggle, you can actually add more of the greens and vegetables. And if you feel like it's too much of a struggle, blend them in a smoothie. That's still going to work, because for me that works. I normally do the herbal teas, which are perfect for balancing your hormones. Green tea is perfect. The Lakadong turmeric tea is perfect. There's another one called Ceylon tea is perfect. There's another one also, Moringa multivitamin, is also perfect for balancing your hormones.
But when you're not pregnant.
When you're not pregnant.
Yes.
And so when you are not pregnant, these are herbal teas that work very quickly. And so what you can do is you can be able to make the teas and have them. You can also be able to make smoothies and drink and add your vegetables in there, because sometimes you can make a smoothie with, maybe you've made some green tea, then you add pineapple and some spinach and blend, and you've still been able to take your vegetable, you've still been able to take your green tea, you're balancing your hormones as you're adding the vegetables in the body.
So advisable daily?
Yes, daily. Because for us women, as we've said, the hormones are cyclical, and you might have a really good healthy month this time, and then the next month can, which is very common, very common. But it's because we can't control the outside, but we can control ourselves. But obviously, I always advise for all the women out there who have many questions, Wellness KE, I'm always ready to assist you, and I can be able to help you with the herbal remedies, with the advice and everything else.
Where can they get you?
Yes, okay, so all our social media platforms, on Instagram at well_ness_KE, on Twitter at KE Wellness, on Facebook we have Wellness KE, we have a YouTube channel, Wellness KE. We post every Sunday so that you can know everything you need to know about your hormones. And last but not least, on TikTok, Fatma Sparkle. Make sure you ask me all the questions. I'm ready to assist you, and I wish you the best health.
Yeah, she's sparkling, guys. Thank you so much, Fatma, for coming through.
Thank you.
We can go on and on and
I
on.
know.
But the next one, I think we'll have also Dr. Kenya. Amanda Kenya is very passionate about menopause. She'll come again and talk about menopause, because we've not been able to delve into that well, because first and foremost, puberty, that really stood out for us. And girls out there, oh God, embrace this stage. Kabla tufike menopause.
I know.
Umesikia?
Hang in there.
But it shall be well.
Of
so
course.
cucumber, hiyo lazima.
Yes.
Lemon water and everything
Vegetables.
natural. That's easy, as opposed to
Of
unajua
course.
supplements.
And it's realistic.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is very easy to even access. So guys, find us on our YouTube channel, at Katie and Home. Find us also on our socials, Instagram, Facebook and X at Katie and Home. And I'm at Ali_Zaitun. That is on Instagram. Very, very active there. Okay, and this episode will be put on YouTube just almost immediately at Katie and Home. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. Goodbye.